Hello and welcome to Saint Lucia Magazine, your weekly roundup of the nation's top stories in education, the economy, infrastructure, agriculture, and more. I am your host, Nival Auguste. In this edition, R&B legends Brandy and Monica to close the 2026 Saint Lucia Jazz Festival, and Island creativity shines at the inaugural Walcott Expressions prize giving. R&B legends Brandy and Monica will headline the grand finale of the 2026 Saint Lucia Jazz and Arts Festival on May 17th at Pigeon Island. Kendall Eugene has the details.
International R&B superstars Brandy and Monica have officially been announced as the headline acts for the grand finale of the Saint Lucia Jazz and Arts Festival, set for Sunday, May 10th at the iconic Pigeon Island National Landmark. The closing night, dubbed the Ultimate Celebration, promises to deliver an unforgettable culmination to the island's premier cultural showcase. The announcement follows weeks of anticipation surrounding the festival's main act. Speaking candidly about the process, the Saint Lucia Tourism Authority CEO Thaddeus Antoine revealed that securing the headliners was anything but straightforward.
The journey to our festival headliner this year was not an easy one. It was one of excitement, one of disappointment, excitement, disappointment, excitement, disappointment. I say so because some of you may have observed during our launch, while I was being acknowledged by Adrian Auger, I happened to take a phone call at the same time my name was being called. And that's when I got a call from one of the agents saying, please don't announce the headliner tonight.
Antoine's remarks shed the light on the behind-the-scenes negotiations that ultimately led to the confirmation of two of R&B's most celebrated voices. Brandy and Monica, whose chart-topping hits and iconic 1998 duet The Boy Is Mine defined an era of contemporary R&B, are expected to draw strong regional and international audiences to the festival's closing showcase. With decades of acclaimed solo careers and a renewed wave of popularity among fans old and new, the pair's appearance is poised to be a defining moment of the 2026 edition of the Saint Lucia Jazz and Arts Festival. The Saint Lucia Jazz and Arts Festival continues its tradition of blending international superstar power with rich local and regional talent, transforming venues across the island into hubs of music, art, and cultural expression. The May 10th finale at Pigeon Island, long regarded as one of the festival's most sought-after nights, is expected to cap off the celebrations in grand style. Reporting for the Government Information Service, I am Kendall Eugene.
The Cultural Development Foundation celebrates the island's creativity and innovation at the inaugural Walcott Expressions prize-giving ceremony. Once again, here's Kendall Eugene.
The Cultural Development Foundation, CDF, celebrated the island's creatives at the recently held Walcott Expressions prize-giving ceremony. The inaugural competition, which formed part of the Nobel Laureate Festival, challenged artists to reinterpret Sir Derek Walcott's poem, Love After Love. Executive Director of the Cultural Development Foundation, Ramona Henry Wynn, says the competition was created to expand the foundation's mandate while giving creatives the opportunity to interpret Walcott's work.
In recent times, what we have done is to try to expand the portfolio of what we do. Expand not just a lecture, but allowing more creatives to be a part of that celebration, to express their interpretation of the work of Walcott. And we saw that beautifully done in so many formats. And for this, the Cultural Development Foundation was very pleased. And you have given us the impetus, creatives, to continue on that trajectory.
The competition encouraged diverse and culturally rooted interpretations across mediums such as spoken word, music, film, and visual arts. Scores of creatives from across the island submitted entries, including inmates from the Bordelais Correctional Facility, one of whom won the People's Choice Award. The overall winner was Khadijah Halliday with her piece Love Before Love. Halliday says the competition challenged her to view Walcott's work from a different perspective.
I submitted to this competition because I've always loved writing and creative competitions. It's always been a place where I could play and take risk and ultimately trust my voice. I did take a break for a year or two, but submitting to this competition felt like a return to something I've always cared about. The piece that I submitted to this competition was called Love Before Love, in contrast to Derek Walcott's Love After Love. In summary, I would say that this competition encouraged me to treat Derek Walcott's work as something living, something that I can question, challenge, and even respond to from my own positionality.
Musician Ken Hardy and performer Nicole Samuel placed second and third respectively, each receiving a cash prize. Spoken word performer Kofi Emmanuel won the People's Choice Award. Reporting for the Government Information Service, I am Kendall Eugene.
Authorities in Saint Lucia are stepping up efforts to reduce vehicular accidents in an effort to save lives. Claudia Monlouis tells us more.
Minister for Transport, the Honorable Stephenson King, says tougher laws and increased penalties are on the way as authorities move to stem the growing toll of road accidents and fatalities. In a special statement in the House on Tuesday, the Honorable Stephenson King, Minister with responsibility for transport, categorically stated that the prevailing culture of indiscipline and recklessness on St. Lucia's roads is unacceptable and unsustainable.
Please note that legislative reform and public education are not intended to burden responsible citizens. They are intended to protect families, communities, lives, and livelihoods. To those who continue to place themselves and others at risk through reckless behavior on our roads, I say this with sincerity and resolve. Your behavioral choices matter. Speeding, impaired driving, distracted driving, and disregard for traffic laws have consequences that extend far beyond the individual.
While expressing sympathy with families who have endured loss, pain, and hardship as a result of recent road accidents, Minister King emphasized that the government has a duty to act decisively in the interest of public safety.
The evidence before us calls for sober reflection and decisive action. Analysis by the Department of Road Safety and Traffic Accident Investigations indicates that total vehicular collisions rose from 2,239 in 2024 to 2,995 in 2025. And I repeat, from 2,239 in 2024 to 2,995 in 2025, an increase of 33.76% across all divisions on the island. The Central Division continues to record the greatest share of these accidents, accounting for 62% of collisions in 2024 and increasing to 70% in 2025. Additionally, minor and serious collisions increased by 34.4%, placing growing strain on emergency services, healthcare facilities, and public resources. Though fatal collisions declined by 36.36%, falling from 22 in 2024 to 14 in 2025, this is not a reason for celebration. Reckless and careless driving is unacceptable.
As part of its response, the government will undertake a comprehensive review of the Vehicular and Road Traffic Act with the aim of strengthening enforcement measures and promoting greater accountability among road users. Minister King confirmed that the review will result in increased fines, tougher penalties, and strengthened legislative provisions designed to deter dangerous driving practices and reduce preventable loss of life. The government is urging all motorists, pedestrians, and road users to take personal responsibility, obey traffic laws, and recognize that safer roads require collective action and respect for the law. For the Government Information Service, I am Claudia Monlouis.
Still to come, Hand Help Inc. returns to St. Lucia to offer free hand surgical care. Stay with us.
This independence, Saint Lucia moves forward under one banner. Tout ensemble, nourishing our people, strengthening our nation. On Sunday, February 22nd, the nation comes alive as we celebrate 47 years of independence. From 10 a.m., witness the National Military Parade at the Micoud North Playing Field, a powerful display of discipline, service, and national pride. Stay on as the celebration continues with the National Independence Rally, bringing together culture, community, and country in one proud moment. Experience the colors, creativity, and talent of our people at the Independence Showcase, celebrating who we are and how far we've come. Independence 47!
Welcome back. St. Lucia is set to host the second hand surgery mission from March 29th to April 2nd. The Hand Help mission will provide free specialist care for children and adults with hand and upper extremity conditions, while also offering medical training for local clinicians. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Sharon Belma-George provides details.
The Ministry of Health, Wellness and Nutrition, in collaboration with Hand Help Inc., will be hosting the second hand surgery mission in St. Lucia from March 29th to April 2nd, 2026. The mission will be held at the Millennium Heights Medical Complex and the St. Jude Hospital. Hand Help Inc. is a charitable organization that provides hand surgery care to children and adults around the globe for the last 25 years. The team comprises of board-certified and licensed medical professionals, including plastic surgeons, orthopedic surgeons, pediatricians, anesthesiologists, hand therapists, nurses, and surgical technicians who volunteer to provide the service of hand surgery. They also provide all the necessary medical supplies and surgical equipment for the mission. The services that will be provided free of charge to the public includes the management of the entire spectrum of hand and upper extremity pathologies in children and adults, including soft tissue and bone injuries, congenital anomalies, nerve palsies, burns, elective surgeries for hand conditions such as carpal tunnel syndrome, trigger fingers, and carpal metacarpal arthritis. Medical education and training for clinical staff will also be an important component of the mission. Persons who would like to be seen, reviewed, and treated by the Hand Help Medical Surgical team should go to the nearest public health facility, whether it be the wellness centers, the polyclinics, or the community hospitals, during the scheduled medical clinics for an initial assessment and registration from Monday, February 9th, 2026 to Friday, March 6th, 2026. Private practitioners may also refer patients for management by the Hand Help Inc. utilizing the registration form that has been made available. Completed forms should be submitted to the Office of the Chief Medical Officer by Monday, March 9th, 2026. All persons registered are required to be reviewed and scheduled by the Hand Help Medical Surgical team on Sunday, March 29th, 2026 at the Owen King EU Hospital from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. or the St. Jude Hospital from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Walk-ins and persons who received surgical interventions last year who would like to be reviewed will also be seen and scheduled on that day. The Millennium Heights Medical Complex will be hosting patient assessment and registration clinics for the mission on February 19th and 26th and March 5th, 2026 at the outpatient clinic. The St. Jude Hospital will also be hosting similar clinics on February 17th and 19th, 2026. Kindly walk with any diagnostic results or medical information during those visits. The local medical and surgical teams will work along the visiting medical team to ensure there is continuation of care after the mission. The Ministry of Health, Wellness and Nutrition advises the public with upper extremities or hand-related health concerns to take full advantage of this opportunity for specialist care. For further information or clarification, contact the Office of the Chief Medical Officer at telephone number 486-5386.
Work is underway on Soufriere's L-shaped jetty. The 4-month project aims to improve St. Lucia's cruise tourism offerings. Once again, here's Genevieve Gonzague.
Stakeholders in Soufriere have been brought into the conversation as works continue on the L-shaped jetty at Port Soufriere. A stakeholder consultation was recently held at the Soufriere Regional Development Foundation boardroom to outline the scope and potential impacts of the project, which is being delivered by Saint Lucia Cruise Port. The meeting formed part of efforts to ensure transparency and coordination as the town prepares for construction activity along the waterfront. According to the executive chairman of the Soufriere Regional Development Foundation, Ernest Auger, stakeholder engagement remains central in everything that the organization does.
We invited all the stakeholders to, one, view the scope of works to be conducted by cruise ports, two, understand the implications, traffic management, garbage collection, visitor harassment, and all of that. And that was the intention behind it. So just we can fill them into the whole program as to what it entails, what is required of us as a community that would benefit from the initiative, and prepare the community on the whole to engage in that form of development.
The general manager of St. Lucia Cruise Port, Lancelot Arnold, explained that the project will be delivered in as little time as possible, with very limited interruptions to regular operations.
The contractor has indicated he needs about 4 months to have it completed, and as I was explaining previously at our stakeholders meeting, the construction is being done in such a manner, or undertaken in such a manner, to minimize disruptions to the current operations on what is usable of the existing L-shaped jetty. So in that, the contractor has started from the northernmost part and will be working southbound to make sure that the operations, like I said, are continued throughout the cruise season.
Also urged mariners and all other stakeholders to pay attention to all signage. Local businessman Michael Gustav lauded the SRDF and the St. Lucia Cruise Port for the engagement, stating that it was necessary for stakeholders to come together to discuss the timeline of the project.
The relationships between those entities are of critical importance to the Soufriere community, and I must say that both GPH and the foundation have lived up to their commitments in terms of informing all of the stakeholders, and today was yet a typical example of such. So again, I would like to say thank you to the government of St. Lucia for the consideration, for the vision and forward planning, in particular our DR, who has worked feverishly in trying to ensure that this activity comes to fruition.
The Royal Saint Lucia Police Force was also represented at the consultation. Inspector in charge of the Soufriere and Choiseul police stations, Kimori Rene, explained that plans are already in motion to assist with any disruptions that may arise.
From a motoring perspective, from a traffic perspective, there is a traffic plan in place. There will not be too much disruption. As you could see, there is a badge right behind us, and most of the activities and operations of that project will happen from there. However, there are certain aspects of it that must be done from a land-based perspective. The concrete pouring and the movement of certain pieces of equipment. However, most of that will happen during the evening, so it will not directly interfere with the day-to-day, daytime operations of our taxi drivers, our business people on the streets.
Officials say stakeholder consultations will continue as the project advances, with an emphasis on communication, coordination, and minimizing disruption while the works on the L-shaped jetty move forward. From the Soufriere Regional Development Foundation, I am Genevieve Gonzague.
Coming up next, the Ministry of Agriculture moves to relocate cattle from Shock Bay to improve public safety. Stay with us.
This Independence, Export Saint Lucia and the Ministry of Commerce brings the excitement back to the South. Beaufort getting ready for the Independence Business Expo. February 20th and 21st at the Beaufort Independence Square. Day one ignites with Beaufort's first ever night market. From 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. Enjoy tasting, live performances, and electrifying DJ Sound Clash. And on day 2, from 10 a.m. the square transforms into a business and culture extravaganza with live cooking and an A-list performance lineup, all backed by DYP. Vendors register via the link on Export Saint Lucia's social media pages. Come celebrate 47 years of independence, where business meets culture and opportunity meets community.
Welcome back. The Ministry of Agriculture has launched a coordinated operation to relocate stray cattle from the Shock Bay area to a secure pasture in Beaufort, with the aim to protect motorists and pedestrians while ensuring the health and welfare of the animals. Zarek Felix tells us more.
The Veterinary and Livestock Service Division within the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, Food Security and Sustainable Development is actively undertaking a coordinated cattle relocation operation, removing cattle from the Shock Bay area. For years, stray cattle along the Sir Julian R. Hunt, John Compton and Alan Bousquet Highway have posed a serious concern to the motoring public, with motorists frequently encountering animals on and near the roadways. This critical initiative forms part of the government's ongoing commitment to safeguarding lives and reducing the risk of accidents caused by stray livestock by having the animals safely relocated to a secure pasture in Beaufort. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Food Security, Bradley St. Urge, underscored the ministry's responsibility to support the livestock farmers in the management and control of their animals.
The Ministry of Agriculture, under the Animals Act of St. Lucia, is responsible for offering assistance, providing assistance to livestock farmers in the management of the animals. Today, Mr. Clinton Louis, one of our largest livestock or cattle farmer in the north, has been challenged in the management of his herd. We have had several meetings with Mr. Louis, and we have agreed with Mr. Louis to transfer those animals to a site in Beaufort where we do communal pasturing. Okay, so today, as you can see, we are sedating the animals and we are going to transfer them to the Beaufort site.
Chief Veterinary Officer Dr. Shemaine Melville Edwin emphasized that the Veterinary and Livestock Services Division play a critical role not only in livestock production, but also in safeguarding the health and welfare of animals across the island.
As part of the efforts of controlling stray and wandering animals, especially cattle, and they've been posing quite a hazard for many years. A hazard to pedestrians, a hazard to motorists, and so these animals, many of them are not tethered, they're loose, they're wandering, and they're difficult to capture. So we need to sedate, more or less tranquilize the animals in order to capture them. So our officers are trained and using specific narcotics, drugs, using devices that we can use to tranquilize the animals, safely tranquilize them, safely capture them. We also want to ensure that the animal welfare procedures are maintained throughout the procedure. These animals, after they've captured and restrained, they will be also treated. We would do a thorough inspection of the animals. We're looking for things like ticks, for example. They will be treated because we want to ensure that these animals, as they are relocated, they don't carry pests and diseases with them.
The ministry's overarching goal for this project is to preserve lives while fostering safer roadways for motorists and pedestrians alike. In the interim, the public is strongly advised to exercise caution when approaching the Shock Bay area, as relocation activities will remain ongoing for some time. From the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, Food Security and Sustainable Development, I am Zarek Felix reporting.
Saint Lucia has strengthened its commitment to a people-centered blue economy. A twinning initiative brought regional and international partners together to share best practices in fisheries management, climate resilience, and ocean governance. Shibroy Marius has the details.
The successful conclusion of the BCLME Plus Micronesia Challenge Twinning Initiative reinforces St. Lucia's commitment to a people-centered blue economy by strengthening regional cooperation, shared learning, and practical solutions for fisheries management, food security, and climate resilience. The initiative brought together regional and international partners to exchange best practices in ocean governance, community-based fisheries management, and climate adaptation areas critical to small island developing states facing escalating climate risk. Throughout the week-long engagement, participants experienced firsthand how St. Lucia's blue economy agenda is directly linked to livelihoods, affordable protein, and national development, while also drawing lessons from Micronesia's customary tenure system and long-standing community stewardship of marine resources. Deputy Chief Fisheries Officer Thomas Nelson highlighted the long-term value of the exchange, emphasizing that collaboration across regions strengthens collective capacity to address shared challenges.
The value of this exchange, and we'll see the results later on as we will hear from the participants in terms of the experience, cannot be overstated. Learning from the experiences of other regions, such as those participating through the Micronesia Challenge, enriches our own efforts and reinforces the principle that collective action is essential in addressing common challenges related to ocean governance, food security, and climate change.
Participants from the twinning engagement highlighted the importance of community authority and traditional governance in achieving sustainable marine management.
So a strong customary tenure is in place. Although we have adapted to a more westernized system, we still have our traditional customary practices. We still have our chiefs. We are birthed into our families. We know where we come from. We know that in our community, I'm at which level of hierarchy than others, and even the space that we're using, we know, or at least we are aware that these boundaries belong to other people, and there's a level of authority that we should approach.
Another key lesson emerging from the initiative was the need for deeper community engagement in the earlier stages of project design.
One thing that I was noticing as well is that a lot of the projects you want the community to come in, but most of the time the projects are kind of designed beforehand and then it's brought to the community. So the buy-in is a little bit, well, it was already done. So I've seen that in the work that I've done in Belize, where it's designed, but then it's brought to the community. So instead of bringing it to the community first, finding it out, and then sending it out.
The Twinning Initiative aligns with St. Lucia's national blue economy priorities by strengthening institutional capacity, promoting ecosystem-based management, and fostering transboundary cooperation. From the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, Food Security, and Sustainable Development, Shivroy Marius.
And with that, we wrap up this edition of Saint Lucia Magazine. A heartfelt thank you to everyone who contributed to this production: the National Television Network, the GIS team, and the communications officers across government ministries. Thank you for watching NTN Channel 122 and following the official social media platforms of the Government of Saint Lucia. I am Neva Logist. Until next time, stay informed, stay engaged as we continue tracking Saint Lucia's progress.